K-pop groups are starting to feel really predictable. Most groups are known for their choreography and their tightly controlled concepts, leaving almost no room for spontaneity. But then NewJeans came in. Their music felt completely different, something softer and more natural. It felt nostalgic instead of exaggerated or copied and pasted. For a moment, it actually felt like K-pop was changing direction. Then, in 2025, NewJeans got into a legal conflict with their parent company, HYBE. Journalist Andrew Jung in the Washington Post reported that members were in a battle for their musical and commercial rights against their label. Suddenly, the conversation around NewJeans was no longer about their music at all. It was about contracts, ownership, and control. In the K-pop industry, even minor personal statements are typically controlled by management. Yet they still publicly declared that their contract was now void, citing a clause saying either party can withdraw from the agreement if there's a serious breach of trust or failure to uphold obligations. This very quickly shifted away from music. The debate was no longer about sound or creativity. It was about who owned the name, the brand, and the profits.
These factors that should have continued to work together in harmony are now being seen as two different areas of work.
This conflict reveals something deeper about modern K-pop. The industry has become incredibly successful at turning groups into global brands, especially companies like HYBE that control almost every part of the fan economy. That strategy clearly works financially, but it also means that members themselves have less creative freedom than fans might think. When NewJeans announced they were leaving, HYBE's share price immediately dropped by 7%. The company responded by emphasizing how much money they had been investing into training and development. In other words, the members were not just artists. They were financial assets. Their music mattered, but their value as a product mattered just as much, if not more. This reaction also shows how important the idea of branding is in modern K-pop. When a group becomes popular, it's not only their music that matters, but everything surrounding them. Fashion partnerships, social media image, advertising deals, and even the group name itself. NewJeans was not only successful because of their songs, but also because they had a recognizable aesthetic that companies could market worldwide. That makes the conflict even more serious because it suggests that the industry values the image of the group more than the people in it. If the members can be replaced or legally restricted while the brand continues to exist, then the system starts to treat artists as interchangeable parts rather than individuals. Instead of music creating the identity of the group, the brand itself becomes the most valuable thing. This situation is very serious because it reflects a much larger change happening across the entire K-pop industry. In recent years, companies seem to be more focused on building global brands than simply producing music. Groups are introduced with carefully designed aesthetics, fashion partnerships, and marketing strategies that are meant to work internationally from the start. Music is important, but sometimes it feels like just one part of a bigger commercial system. The NewJeans conflict also raises another uncomfortable question. How much individuality is actually possible in the industry anymore? During the legal battle, there were accusations that agencies were trying to create new groups that copied the sound and style that made NewJeans successful. If companies can simply recreate a concept using different performers, then the industry starts to feel less like a creative space and more like a manufactured system. The identity of a group becomes replaceable while the brand structure stays exactly the same. And of course, this doesn't mean music doesn't matter at all. K-pop still produces innovative songs, and groups continue to put enormous effort into their performances. But the balance has clearly shifted. In the past, music defined a group's identity. Now branding, marketing, and global strategy seems just as important. Because of that, the conflict surrounding NewJeans feels less like a single scandal and more like foreshadowing for the industry's future. K-pop became popular worldwide because it combined strong music with creative visual storytelling. If companies continue to prioritize corporate ownership over artistic freedom, they risk losing the creativity that made the genre successful in the first place. In the end, the NewJeans controversy leaves space for fans to think about something much bigger than just NewJeans. If a group can lose control of their name, their music, and even their identity, then what is actually at the center of K-pop anymore? If the answer is branding instead of music, then this may not just be a legal dispute. It might be a turning point for K-pop.